What is up? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show for dads, fathers, and male caregivers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, but part of that movement, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And I'm speaking at the end of this year, I'll be able to tell you 500,000. Yes, 500,000. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And we're broadcasting live on September 6th, 2025. And I'm pretty sure we may get another blast of summer, but right now, it cool at nights. Like last night, it got down to about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which is okay with me. I love sleeping when the window's open. I love it. Cool breeze, etc., etc. Just a nice vibe. Would like some more hot weather, though. Need another blast. We'll warm up by the end of this week, but this has been good. But you're not here for me. I know that. It's so true. You're here for AKS and LLK. I never thought about it that way. AKS and LLK. Aisha K. Tigers, LaLa Key. I like that. AKS.
I do too.
Like a law firm.
I love it. That's great.
It sounds like a law firm.
It does.
And well, I know that if you had power, you'd be taking some people to court and putting them in jail.
Ooh, people would have been under the jail by now.
OMG. What's been going on, ladies? What's up?
Just tired.
It's been a week.
Tired. It's been a year and a week.
A year and a week. Yeah, it's, I for the first time in a long time, I took a number of naps during the week. And usually every day, I'll take at least a 15-minute nap. But for some reason, I just felt, just wanted to got a good nap in this week. And they're just really good. Naps and showers. Daytime naps and daytime showers were the real deal. Real deal this week. All right. LaLa.
Yes.
Give us a win from this week.
A win for this week. It was my mother's birthday yesterday. And I lost my mother when I was 21. And every year she always finds a way to let me know she is around. So we went to dinner and there was her absolute favorite plant that I have never seen in our area ever. It was sitting right in my face. I used to buy that for her every year for her birthday. And it was right there. And so I knew she was around. That's a win.
Nice. What's one thing you love about her?
Her hands. When I talk about my mom, I feel her hands. Her hands were always very warm and comforting. So she just had really soft hands. They were loving. There was a lot of love in those hands.
It's an interesting thing, the power of touch.
Very much so.
The power of touch. Like when someone holds your hand or holds you around the waist or just holds you, you know when it's right.
Yeah, you do.
That's really special. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Aisha, AKS. No, I better not call you that anymore. Aisha, sorry.
I got a perfect score on one of my first assignments this semester.
Wow.
I love it. I'm so excited for you, Aisha. I am so excited for you going back to school.
It's funny because I finished this assignment before the first week of the semester.
Wow.
Because I was like, I'm a little bit older and I get tired. So
I love it. I love
So
it.
I need to get these things started early.
Man, I don't know if I've had the mental fortitude to go back to school at this time.
Yeah, and there were 3 parts to this assignment. So I did the first part, and then I went back after doing some more of the reading, and then did the second and third part. And so I'm really proud of myself because I really worked. I did all of my I did all my reading, and yeah. I laid out a time management schedule for myself and just really focus. Of course, having to get up at 4:15 in the morning to leave the house at 5 to take my daughter to work at 6 has had me on a steady study schedule.
4:15 in the morning.
Yeah, so that I'm ready by 5 to take her to work, so she gets there by 6.
You're better than me.
Yeah,
I am not a morning person. That just made me cringe.
No, I'm not either. And then I get there, and then I go and I get a coffee, and then I go to the library and I study.
I feel like a foreigner. I am not a coffee person.
I love coffee.
Well, I'm tired right now. You probably can't see it, but
we can tell.
Look, I could go to sleep.
Well,
I can go to sleep.
Here's the funny thing. If it wasn't for Aisha's mother, she may not be on this screen right now or hearing her. Tell us what.
Yeah, because my mother had to come wake me up at 4:15 this afternoon because I went to take a nap at 2:30. She's like, "Don't you have your at 4:15?" She's like, don't you hear your alarm? Don't you have your podcast at 5?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Because I went to take a little nap. In the funniest thing was earlier this week, I did oversleep to take my daughter, and my mother was like, she said, "What time does she got to go to work?" I said, "She has to be at work at 6." She said, "It's 6:05, right?"
Oh.
Thankfully, I was like, "Ooh." So there was that, but thankfully, some things worked out.
New schedules will wear you out,
Look, I don't think you understand right now. I am like falling asleep right now.
Ouch.
I'm that tired. Thankfully, look, I'm gonna take her tomorrow, but today she's taking an Uber home. I can't pick her up.
Right. It's not safe for you to be out that tired anyway.
Exactly. And the only reason I'm doing it tomorrow, taking her, is because it's dark in the morning and I don't like her being on the road with strangers that dark in that morning. So yeah.
Yeah, it's creeping in.
Yeah.
Dark earlier.
Yes, it is.
I don't like this time of year. Not my favorite.
It is? Why?
Look, I'm born.
Oh, no, it's not.
I'm a fall baby and I don't like the fall. It's not my time of year. Me and my daughter are both born in the fall.
Back, spring forward thing.
So do you think should we just leave it the same all year round?
Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Yes.
I mean, I just really don't like the fall. And some people like this time of year because of pumpkin spice, pumpkin everything. Oh. I'm like, give me a nice summer day. Why can't September be in the summer?
Listen, I could drink pumpkin spice at any time of the year. I don't have to have it in the fall.
I mean, I don't understand. And, I think sometimes
Aisha said, I don't understand. I don't understand.
I don't understand. I mean, I would like September to be in the summertime. I mean, let's switch out June and September.
It was a hot one though this year everywhere.
I mean, Dr. Vibe, you're talking about the weather. We had some nice cool days, and then today it was 83 degrees.
Wow.
We haven't had we're going to get some more coming up in the week, but
it was like 50. Look, it was like 54 degrees in the mornings all this week. This morning when I took my daughter out, it was like 74 in the morning, and then it turned 83 later today. It doesn't make any kind of sense.
But there's no
Wow.
such thing as climate change.
Nope, not at all.
No, not at all. And this blubbering blob talking about, oh yeah, we're gonna get rid of the windmills. I don't like them, so we're not
Windmill.
having windmills at all. They're
Okay.
terrible. They're terrible.
Meanwhile, Germany has now developed where you can plug in solar panels on your patio just for your unit.
You're kidding.
Nope. You can take it with you wherever you go. You can get you a little solar panel and put it off of your patio.
Well, what is it? Scotland? Was it Scotland that they put a whole bunch of solar panels and the wind turbines right across the lake from his golf resort?
Yeah.
He doesn't like them. He thinks they're ugly, so they put a whole bunch right across.
I love them. That's
I love
the type
that.
of people I like.
All right.
Mm-mm.
We're going to take a break. We're going to see if we can resuscitate Aisha and make sure she's buoyant with us for the next little bit. And when we come back, we'll do some housework, and then we'll get into the more I know, the less I understand. That's all I'm going to say. We'll be right back. Black Men Can Talk, a show where Black Canadian men come together to have real, unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community.
The doctor, professor, Chevy X.
Because people always say indigenous people don't exist in the Caribbean. I was speaking to my indigenous friend from the Caribbean like 3-4 hours ago. I think it'll be very interesting to see, how things unfold in Canada. And I think the way we need to combat that is through collective struggle.
Master.
We got a master class tonight. Make sure you catch it 8 p.m. Sunday evenings Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Black Men Can Talk.
Remember we used to do the show on Sunday, Dr. Vibe?
What?
Yes, remember we used to do a show at 7 p.m. on Sunday.
Oh, those were the days.
And then there was Wednesday.
Oh, we've been all over the map, but I think
I
we've
know.
landed
Oh my
where we
God.
are right now in a good way. All right, let's do some house stuff. The Girlfriends Chat, make sure you catch it on Patreon and mostly on Substack. And I am enjoying Substack immensely. Less clutter on there for now, because I was hearing that there's a lot of trolling going on Blue Sky these days.
Yeah. It was good for a moment. I'm kind of tired of it now.
Yeah, it seems that I was told the MAGA came in hard on Blue Sky. So try Substack. It's a good place.
Because they're miserable people. That's why. They're miserable people and they don't want anybody else to be happy.
Primetime Saturday Show Store. Link is there. Join our Discord group. You can email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com or click on the link you see on the screen. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show and hit on YouTube and hit notification button. Also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Substack. And also, if you want to advertise your business product or service on the platforms I'm a part of, email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Cannot forget Dr. Tashe, who runs Indie Soup Media, independent content creators platform with about coming close to 20,000 YouTube subscribers. And again, only 4% of all YouTube channels have over 10,000 subscribers. There's a link there, and a lot of content that I do is featured on that platform. Got some people who have shouted in, so let's get on. The family is here, so let's get down. Jen Meyer says, hello, everyone.
Hey, Jen.
Also, she gives Aisha a big clap, clap, clap for getting that assignment done. Regina Fries, you are here. We want you to call in this weekend. In a moment, I'm going to show you again because I know it works. All right. She goes, the only time I like autumn is when we have an Indian summer and it stays warm right into November. Spring is my jam. That's what she says. Spring is her jam. She also says, what a genius idea. The solar panels.
Mm-hmm.
All right. LaLa says, hello, family. Thanks for joining in. And Enlightened Being says, my favorite people are in the house. Well, this is a good thing. Now, if we're your favorite people, give us a call. Give us a call. So whether you have a smartphone, laptop, desktop, whatever, tablet, go to whatever browser you have on that and put in, well, you can just put in callme.road.com, or if you have a smartphone, you can swipe the QR code. It will bring you to a page, and you just type in the code that you see there. There's a code in there. Don't worry about it. You can type in capital letters FSPL8L. I'll see that you're calling in. We'll have you join the conversation. So this is calling all Reginas, calling all Reginas. This is for you, calling all Reginas. Hopefully we can hear from you and anyone else that's watching this live. All right. So let's get to our first conversation piece. Epstein victims speak out.
I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
I'm really glad they did. Because here's the thing. For Ghislaine Maxwell to sit with Trump's appointed former lawyer, first of all, let's be very clear who that man was. He's the deputy AG, but let's be clear of who he was. He was Trump's lawyer who was asking questions that were specifically made up by Trump. Let's also be clear about that. To sit there and call them liars on tape because she wants a pardon, and to not even interview the victims. So I'm glad that they did that. They did that part, that they went and they testified before Congress, because let's also be clear that the reason that Congress is just getting back is because Mike Johnson sent them away early. Okay, so I'm glad that in their first week back, the first people that they got to hear in that committee were the victims who told things that were so deep, so painful, so moving, that Nancy Mace, the Karen of Congress, had to leave because she was having a panic attack because what they were saying was so just,
There's no word for these women who were girls at the time,
right.
Because let's also be very clear that people are trying to say, these women were girls at
Right.
the time, underage, and people are trying to ignore that fact.
Right. And that for me is the part, is that they were describing things that were done to them as children. I do not agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene ever. I'm still dealing with the fact that I do have an agreement with her on what she said about going to read the names that they give, that those now young women, but who were young girls and preyed upon, give her to read on the House floor. But she can do it because, for this reason, because members of Congress doing their job cannot be held liable for any kind of lawsuit. So hear me. The reason that she said she could do it is because in her official capacity, those men cannot sue her.
Right. And that's the only thing that I think can be done, because we all know the victims have said, we're going to release our own list since y'all don't want to listen to us. We're going to release our list. And we all know if that happens, these women are going to be disappearing one by one, or they're going to be sued till they can't do anything else at all, into silence. So
and that is why them writing the list is like,
right.
They can't be sued for writing this, because basically they're not saying that we're making a list and we're going to release it. They said we can write down the names.
Right.
That's all they're saying. They're not going to release it to the press or whatever. They said we can write down the names. That's as far as they went, because them writing down the names holds no legal, it will hold no legal weight, and they cannot be sued for just writing down names. And members of Congress cannot be sued for reading those lists of names. That is the good thing about that. A lawyer explained this this morning on MSNBC, how that legally keeps those women safe.
Yeah, and which they should be. They should. Their voices are powerful. Their voices are important. And the thing that really amazes the hell out of me is the fact that nobody goes and bothers to talk to him. All this swirling around and everybody ignores going to the people who are directly involved. You know, that is just sickening. The whole thing is sickening. You know, like this is some magic thing that can instantly disappear. You are talking about people's lives.
Right. Well, what bothers me is LaLa. It's like that video that you shared, because I saw it yesterday too. It's this the ever-changing excuses. So now he was an FBI informant, like somebody
they're doing their best.
Yes, like somebody said the other day, he went from being somebody to now being White Boy Rick. You ever see that movie, White Boy Rick? So now he's an informant, right? So, yes. But here's my thing. If he was an informant, then you didn't need to go through all these dramatics the last 3 months. You could have just said that and released the unredacted file. Because here's the thing. If he was an FBI informant, there's no hemming and hawing that you need to do. You could have just released everything. You don't even need to redact his name.
Nope.
If he was the FBI informant, you think people are stupid?
And what does he do directly after that? He immediately, after all of the victims had a chance to speak and everything, what does he do? He goes straight to the GOP and he threatens them, saying that if anybody speaks out or agrees to vote to have these files released, that it is a direct hit directly to him, and he considers it treason.
Oh yeah, they're trying to get Marjorie Taylor Greene unseated. But here's the thing: you can't have it both ways. You can't call it a hoax. And that's the disrespectful thing. Him basically saying these women what happened to them as a hoax. It can't both be a hoax and you be an FBI informant. Make that make sense.
There's this account that I follow on Instagram, and it's done with puppetry, sort of like the Sesame Street puppetry. And they have this orange monster. Okay, he's an orange monster. You know who he's supposed to be. And they hit it so on the head that it was like so serious. Like he's like, there is no Epstein list. But there is one because Obama and Hillary wrote the list. No more, but there is no list. You know, like it's exactly, it was not even made up because it was direct words from what he has said. You know, this is way too long for this.
There's no list, but if there is a list, Obama and Hillary Clinton created, but there's no list. But if there is a list, it's only full of Democrats, but there's no list. But if there is a list, now you have to do something else. There's no list. If there is a list, it's a Democratic hoax, but there's no list. But if there is a list, dude, shut up.
No. And so the other thing that came out, I mean, see, there's so many layers to this, y'all. This is beyond onion layers. The onion layer can't get peeled to the next layer because there's about 5 layers within that one layer. So he goes and he says, you know, if we release the list, we're only going to put the names of the Democrats in there. We're going to make sure that all Republicans are not marked in this document.
Right. And
how
that came out was, dude, you were telling somebody you met on Grindr.
Hot mic. When he didn't even know he was being recorded.
Hot mic from someone you met on Grindr who turned out to be an investigative journalist. You can't make this stuff up. And at what point do people wake up with this man who, everything's a hoax? This man made up a hoax about something that he created, wants a Nobel Peace Prize for, but can't even admit to being the person in office at the time that the vaccine was created, because his people hate vaccinations.
And then they continue to put him in for these Nobel Peace Prizes. Have you noticed that? Now they want him in there for something else. Well, I don't even know what it was this time around. But this man is obsessed with absolutely everything. He is ranged. We have a madman in the White House. And if that's not enough that we're talking about all this, other stuff keeps coming out. Like under his first term, how he killed innocent fishermen.
Yeah. And for 5 days, he was MIA. And while he was MIA, his vice president said, I am ready to step in if and when, not just if and when the time comes.
You know he's on his knees praying, dear baby Jesus, please make sure you come and take Trump so that I can be president. Because that's all he's in there for.
He's praying to white baby Jesus and Buddha. He'd be like, Ursa, please play your Buddha because we need all the energy that we can get.
That's his
All
hope.
right.
That's his hope. That's his dream.
Do I have permission to interrupt for a second?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so comments. The overhead jets were appalling. Was
Yes.
that done on purpose?
Yes. How disgusting. And you're not supposed to be hiding something? Baby, this is a well-known secret. This has been out. We know about you. Now, your real people who are standing behind you are like, wait a minute, what's going on? You know, like, you just not waking up? I still don't trust you, but we've been doing this.
But you know, here's the thing. This is what I said in the beginning. I said it before. I said it on this show. I said it many times in my social media, and you guys can testify to it because there is a fraction of MAGA that's breaking off and falling for the Kool-Aid. And I told you, remember what I said? I said Democrats need to let MAGA handle this because the moment that they start getting heavily involved, they're going to flip it and say that this was a Democratic op. They're going to flip it and say, well, this is a Democratic thing, because the one thing that MAGA will not tolerate is agreeing with Democrats on anything.
At all.
What's happening, they're starting to believe, oh, well, this is a Democratic thing. The Democrats they really are starting to believe some of that, right?
Yeah,
they're starting. I've seen it. I said Democrats need to fall back. Let MAGA handle this.
It's sickening. You know, I
really fell for the okie doke.
I wish we wouldn't have to talk about this every week. Every week, we're still talking about the same thing because nothing is being done. Our country has been run into the ground by a corrupt con man who is guilty. He's a felon, and he's in the White House.
Yep.
All right. Permission to interrupt. I'll just put some more comments here. Regina says, oh, it said the overhead. We already covered that. Dr. Tachi says, hello. Good to see you.
Dr. Tachi.
She also says hello to Regina because they got, Regina's the president of the Dr. Tachi fan club. Regina says, put the QR code in the comments. Yes, I've given it to you. And she goes, the soundtrack for this topic, lies, 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 lies. They're going to get you. Lies, lies, lies. By the Republicans.
That's so true.
And she also says, hey, Dr. Tachi, Regina says, and where's the code? I've given you that also, Regina. So I'm every once in a while just looking to see, waiting patiently for you to call in. And also, too, new thing now, we can have 2 people calling in at once. So Dr. Tachi, if you want to call in, calls in, and you two can, all 4 you can hang, and I'll just sit back and rock in my chair while you two just do your thing. I'm more than up to doing that. More than up to doing that. One of the things that it still makes me shake my head, how 47, this is a Democratic hoax. Wow.
Oh, everything.
But that's his thing for everything. But sit and think about it. Every ounce of accountability that comes, he says it's a hoax. Every ounce of accountability. And what kills me is that at what point do his people sit there and say, come on, Trump, everything is a hoax? Everything? everything.
Those are the deep Kool-Aid drinkers right there.
Right. Because it would be like back in the 90s, Bill Clinton saying, yeah, this ain't true. I haven't been with all these. Come on. Even I didn't believe that.
But, you know, here's a perfect example of that. Another creator that I follow, you know, he really called out somebody because this woman on TikTok came out to me. Clinton's name was mentioned and nobody said anything about that. And the creator was like, let's see. They both called out Clinton and they called out Trump. And you chose to just choose Clinton's name instead of mentioning both of the names that were mentioned. He said, and at this point, y'all need to understand, we don't care what you are on that list. The list needs to be distributed. It needs to be known. And it doesn't matter if you even freaking polka dot at this point. You know what you did. If you were on the list and you are guilty, you are just damn guilty. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican at this point, but this cover up, you got to be kidding me.
But here's the thing. Here's the correct answer to that. You're right. You don't hear us defending Clinton.
Nope. No.
You don't hear us saying anything about Clinton because guess what? That man's got to defend himself.
That's on his own.
That's on his own.
In his household.
Guess what? We're not because we're not weird.
What does all this avoidance, ducking, what does this say about men's respect of women?
It doesn't. They don't. We're always last.
It really,
you have to remember, we also were considered, you know, property from day one.
But you know, here I'll go here and I'll say this, and I'm not defending her per se, but I'm just put this out because I know about it and I remember it happening. I still don't like her. But with women, they will use these kinds of things against women to destroy their careers and destroy their political grievances. Like, for example, with Nikki Haley, there were some Republicans in South Carolina who did not want her to run for governor because she was Indian and hated her so bad that, and I do believe it was Jake E. Knotts. They wanted her out so bad that they tried to push a story of her cheating on her husband.
Exactly.
Her staffers, right?
Yes.
To make people not make her unelectable. And so they do those kinds of things with women to destroy their reputation and make her, it's like, oh, she's a loose one, she's that. And it tarnishes women. Like, I mean, the story is like, oh, well, while her husband was overseas serving his country, she was back home, in the state house messing around with this person. It's like, like her poor husband who's working hard in the military. And what is she doing? Fooling her. It's like, God.
Meanwhile, they got their own skeletons in the closet.
Exactly.
Doing the exact same thing.
But, it's like you got these Republican men who are saying these kinds of things about a woman who's taking care of her family while her husband's away and running her job. Meanwhile, they're in bathrooms with little boys or or in bathrooms, having DL relations, right? So they will try and ruin women that way. But
that ain't slander. That's been proven.
Right. But we're supposed to look the other way when men have affairs. Right. So yeah, so that's what it says about that. It's a way to push women out of politics, but we're supposed to look the other way when it's men or men with multiple affairs, multiple children, babies, mamas will get elected. Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, or people. Look what they tried to do with Barack Obama, right? Remember the Obama girl during the first election? Yep. They tried to use that on him.
Oh, wait. Now, this is a good point to put in this Epstein files as well, because as we know, Victoria did have the victim that they claimed committed suicide. She did not commit suicide. You can't convince me of that. She knew it. She even came out and said that she was not suicidal. She had a trigger for if something should ever not happen to her, that certain things will be put into place. And one of them was a video or an vocal tape of the things that she's going to, and the book is coming out, right? What they have done now with AI, with that recording that they have of her, they have taken her voice and had her say, here's what's really happened. Obama came, he liked the Island Boys. And so this AI thing now has been interjected into all of this. And of course, people who don't understand AI and understand that could be copied very, very well to a T. We were just talking about AI. You put your face in, hey, you're already moving and drinking water, right? It's the same with the voices.
Yeah,
now,
all
if
you need
you're
is
not
10 seconds
smart,
of clear audio.
if you're not smart about listening to the things that AI can't do yet, then you're going to be fooled by that. And so that was really circulating around on the social media as well. And I would look at those comments, and I was so disgusted with how many people was like, see, we told you, Obama. He has this fascination with Obama that he just wants that man gone. Obama lives rent-free 50 million trillion times a day in his head. And so anything that MAGA can do to try to drag Obama into this, or anybody that he hates, remembering that that's target number one for him, they're going to do. So I urge you and I implore you to understand where your sources really are and to really be judgmental in your head on what is the purpose of this, where is this coming from, and really listen to the nuances that you need to learn to see and to also hear what has been created by AI.
You know, I think the Obama thing is so funny because it would be different if the press corps dinner, the jokes Obama made about him came at him unprovoked.
Yeah.
And Obama made people laugh at him and he was trying to get revenge. He must have forgot that he started antagonizing Barack Obama with the birtherism stuff. And so he asked for it. He forgets that part. He asked for it. And he is like, dude, you're trying to get revenge on someone you literally hate because
he's better than you.
Because you spent years going after him, and in one night he had a whole room full of people laughing at you. But then to add insult to injury, at Jimmy Carter's funeral, when you thought that you were making friends with him, he didn't call you after a funeral. Because he remember he did that. He's like, oh, I like him. He's really nice. You know, we had a good talk. Yeah, we could be friends. I thought we could be friends. And Obama didn't call you back.
Girl.
Just, you know, kind of like his friend. His feelings were sincerely hurt this week because he wasn't invited to the dictator's ball.
Oh, baby, and wasn't that something to watch?
Yes, when he wrote that on his little True Social thing, because the dictators didn't invite him to the dictator's ball, his feelings were hurt.
Let him be, because he's the butt of all jokes anyway.
Talking about they don't know America's the hottest country in.
Oh boy! Just when I heard him say hoax, so all those ladies standing on Parliament Hill are hoax.
Yeah,
all of them.
Here's the thing. It tells you what he thinks about people who have been. He has no empathy, no sympathy, no empathy to even say, I am so sorry that they had to experience that.
Just want to interrupt. I have permission. I think we have someone calling in.
Hello.
Hey, Dr. Tachi.
Dr. Tachi's in the house. What is up, Dr. Tachi?
Not much. You summoned me, so I said, okay.
Okay. Well, what do you say about these Epstein victims speaking out?
Well, to me, it's a function of the fact that because nobody else is doing anything and seems to be throwing things under the rug and trying to sweep things under the rug and create fires everywhere so that nobody pays attention, since they cannot rely on the people who are supposed to protect them doing so, they took power into their own hands. And so bravo for that.
I have a question for all three. Well, look, okay, there's some more comments here. Regina says, I do have a microphone hookup, but I just moved and I have no idea what box I stuck it in. Can't help you there, girlfriend. Can't help you there. She also says, the pick-me Karens who are dissing the victims make me sick.
Yeah.
And Dr. Tachi said, what rubbish. Let me ask, what would this story be if it was all Black women?
It wouldn't be.
There wouldn't be a story.
Look how long it took for anybody. Look how long it took for anybody to believe the victims of R. Kelly.
Thank you.
Nobody cared for 30 plus years because they were Black girls.
And if I may, the thing with women and this whole thing, even in this case, is that there are always the oppressor always has collaborators among the oppressed. So there are always going to be women who co-sign on what the oppressors say to either stay in their good graces, because of internalized misogyny, etc. So this is a bigger problem than just admitting what has been done. This is centuries of indoctrination of a certain way of thinking, and to expect you would expect that, okay, this happened to women and I'm sure some men, that people would be on the side of trying to help them, but not when you've been brainwashed and indoctrinated to believe that anyone to the contrary of what the powers are saying is wrong. That's how cults work. That's also how extremist religion works. So we're talking about centuries of this type of indoctrination. So it's very difficult to get rid of it in like one go. And it's not even one go. Look how often this happens. Like was just mentioned, the whole thing with R. Kelly. Now we know good and well that there was guilt there. But look how many people sent things while he was locked up. Look how many people said, no, these women are just lying. And women saying, no, these women are just lying. Internalized misogyny, which is also internalized racism.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the thing of it is like when I was at that time too, you know, even after the first trial, they're like, these young girls just wanted to get with him because he was a celebrity.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're still little girls.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
They're still little girls.
Absolutely.
They don't know. They literally don't know any better. They literally are under the age of consent. He is literally the adult. And to Dr. Tachi's point about there always being women who will conspire, Pam Bondi, she is the attorney general, and she is the cover up. She is covering all of this up. It is literally her job to hold the men whose names are in these documents accountable, and she is refusing to do so.
Dr. Tachi, let me ask you, because
Sure.
you're part of Media Scope, Media Tech and Pop Culture. Can you give us your lens on how the media's covered this story over the years that it's been going on?
It's very sensationalized. I think we have to come to terms with, and I'm very disappointed in mainstream media. Not that I did not know this was always the case, but even now, even more so now, when we really need an outlet to give voice to people that are traditionally voiceless and to be the listening ear to what's going on, they're not doing it because there's too much politics, money, and factions involved. So you've disappointed me, mainstream media, if you're listening. You are a supreme disappointment. So they're not covering these things
Yep.
Sorry, say again.
I said they're enablers.
Absolutely. And they're enablers as long as somebody's paying we'll be right back after this commercial break. They don't care. They don't
Yeah.
care. This is not
Yeah.
to say all journalists. There are some journalists that are very much interested in doing the right thing. But it is difficult to do the right thing journalistically when you work for a corporation. All of these media outlets are owned by multinational corporations, and it's very difficult to say anything contrary to what the news agenda that has been set by that corporation is. This is why you see all these journalists that have been upended and either left on their own or been let go.
Yeah.
You cannot trust the majority of mainstream news media, which is why I'm so excited about this independent streak that's going. But they haven't been doing a very good job from the beginning. The whole thing, if it bleeds, it leads. So they look for the most sensational of stories to put out there rather than stories that really will answer questions, because we watch news, we read news, we listen to news to answer our questions about what's happening in the world and how we should act upon the world that we live in. But they're not doing their job to ensure that, right? Unless you're watching local news and there's like, listen, there's a fire on such and such block, get out now, right? That's the exception of those things that happen locally. But when it comes to these types of stories, they're not doing their job because often people don't want this to come out. So to answer your question, I don't think they've been doing a good job. They've been doing a job. A good job, not necessarily. There are within different media outlets, there may be people that are trying to do things, but it's not coming through. It's at least where I am, right? It's not coming through in a way that is fruitful to the conversation and giving more information, because it's not about helping you form up your opinion. That's not what journalism is supposed to do. They're supposed to give you information so that you can form your own opinion. But what has happened is it has been tinged with opinion, and not even informed opinion. It's opinion. And that can severely sway the public in terms of what they think about certain things, and then how they act upon those certain things. So I'm disappointed, to say the least. Not surprised, but disappointed.
But also there's that fear in the press corps, Dr. Tachi, of not being able to be let into the White House to cover Trump if they even ask a question. Because that's the other thing for me, is that this man will sit here and say he's going to lower prices by 1,400, 1,500%. And not one of them says, sir, I'm sorry, 1,400%. That means that the pharmaceutical companies will be paying people to take their drugs. You understand that, right? And
you know what? You are so sorry. Go ahead.
What?
I didn't want to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I was done.
Oh, I'm sorry. So no, you are so right. But the thing is, all you have to do is, this is what they're not doing properly. So I get you have a fear of not wanting to be in that room, which, I wouldn't give a damn. Okay, this is what you want, that story. You want to be in the room. They're not asking the hard-hitting question. He's saying all these things, but what you do is that you juxtapose the information that you got in there, which is from, you have the video, you have all of that, and then you juxtapose it in a story against what is actually happening, but they won't, because they don't want to be shut down or called out on it. So they have all the information they need if they have somebody in the room to be able to not even draw definitive conclusions about what is being said versus what is actually happening, but they won't really do that.
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is you have to be a certain kind of journalist to be like, I don't care if I get kicked out. I'm asking the question because this is stupid and he's stupid. You have to be that kind, because it's like, come on now, people gotta know this is stupid.
Ain't no other word for it.
I agree.
Enlightened Being says, wow, all this just makes your head spin. Regina Frisk says, I think that there are so many sexual abuse victims out there, boy, man, girl, woman, that a lot of the public knows from experience why the journalism on this story is not hard hitting. And Dr. Chachi says, absolutely, Regina. And Regina Frisk says, even during the Watergate era, the White House was telling public journalists reporting on the case were lying hats. And this is exactly where we are right now. We need to have journalists like the Watergate era who weren't afraid to tell the thing. This thing right here that's going on with this Epstein case is as egregious, more so than the Watergate era, because the president is involved in the sexual trafficking of children. He might not be guilty himself, but this man is damn sure acting like he is. And that's the problem. That's the problem I think that everybody is having, whether you be on the right or left. Everybody is having a problem with a president who wants people to believe he's not guilty, but is acting like a really guilty man.
I 100% agree. I also think that we do need that level that we had during Watergate, but this is the age is really different. We have to understand that even regardless of the side, there was a moral line that you did not cross.
Yes.
Things. That line is gone. You can see because behaving now, long gone. So when you have a moral compass and there's a moral line that you don't cross, okay, everybody can agree this was wrong because as a country, what we've set morally is this, and you all have not held that up. But where are the morals in this administration? They're not there. They're not there. And the worst thing is the morality in this country, for the most part, is set by Christian values. When you have so-called Christians that are there behaving in this manner, there is no moral line anymore, especially when it was set on Christian values. I mean, Jesus is weeping. I don't know what else to tell you.
And you know what? The moral values of that era, the Nixon era, were such that Betty Ford stopped speaking to her husband for a while when he pardoned Nixon. She was mad at him for pardoning Nixon.
Morals? What's that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, here's the thing. When we look at that, we're talking about Watergate, and that's really still overlapping with the civil rights movement, right? Which the whole reason that had to happen was because there was a lack of morality. They were trying to convince themselves that was the moral thing to do, but they knew deep down, people, even though you behaved in such a way, you still knew this was wrong. You knew this was wrong, right? Hence why you put things in place to try and mitigate what was done, because you knew it was wrong. So even for the hardest of immoral acts, such as the racist acts that occurred, somebody knew it was wrong, even if the sociopaths who committed them did not know. Somebody knew it was wrong, and they had to enact it. Here, what's happening is even the people that know that it's wrong, those in the GOP that know that it's wrong, they sit and do nothing.
Exactly.
They are concerned about themselves and their job. The level of individualism has risen, and that's a problem. Even though this has always been an individualistic country, there was more of a collective and societal regard spirit than now. Now it's for real, every person for themselves.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And see, here's the thing. There was when you have the choice of doing the right thing versus doing the wrong thing, there was a social contract that people had with their community. And the community agreed to look at people a certain way if they didn't do the moral thing. We no longer have those social contracts with our community because people don't find themselves in community with other people around them, because their idea of community has expanded beyond the 5 or so blocks that they live. Their community is now in the world, and they can say and do things and get away with things from behind their keyboard anonymously, right? And they can get away with it. That is the difference, right? That we are living with now.
Do I have your permission to jump in?
Yes.
Okay,
You're back. Yay.
I was just setting everything up because I didn't realize 2 people can call in now, but I had to set it up on my roadcaster to make sure both lines over. So I had some stuff to do. So let me catch up on some comments here. Regina says, I think that there are so many.
We read those.
What?
We read
those.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we read that too.
Goes, absolutely, Regina. She goes, even during the Watergate. Okay, I heard that line. All right. Dr. Tati says, enlightened beings. And Regina goes, but we don't have Ben Bradley. We have Mr. Amazon. And she goes, Bezos is the bozo. And goes,
They all are.
Caitlin Collins stated that behind the scenes, the GOP knows it is wrong, and 47 is part of the Epstein files. Well, everyone knows that. Regina goes, exactly, they know and they do nada. And Dr. Tachi says all her sentiments. I wish you could join in, Regina. One day, hopefully you will. All right.
Well, here's the thing, though, right?
What?
Everybody knows Trump is in the Epstein files, but the more shucking and jiving that they do to avoid this stuff, the more it looks like what he's in there for is really bad.
Oh, we know
it's we know it's bad, but it looks, the more that they keep trying to sane wash it, there's not enough bleach in America to clean what it is that he's guilty of.
I just have to say, I usually just look at to have that individual say that it's a Democratic host was an absolute slap in the face to every one of those victims.
Yes.
I'm disappointed in the media of not going after him more because of that.
But here's the other part of it.
They won't.
But here's the other part of it too, right? This also tells you how you know there are very few Democrats in there, aside from the ones that we know about, like Bill Clinton. Because if there were, Donald Trump would have been naming names.
From the first day.
Look, that would have been the first attempt at distraction. The very first attempt at distraction. His name, I believe they said, shows up about 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be good.
No, it can't. Well, if it was okay, everything would be released.
But not only that, but I'm gonna tell you this, and this is the other part that I suspect. I suspect that a lot of the names on there are also some of his big donors.
Well, we already know that. So that leads right into this other point that came out. Massey who is a Republican from Kentucky. He's been really leading the charge on like calling out the GOP on like, you need to be voting on this and we need to be doing something about this. And he was so serious about it, y'all, that he literally dropped a billionaire's name that he says is working very hard to hurry up and get him out of there because he's in Epstein's black book and he doesn't want his name to be out there. He called him out straight up against and kept saying his name over and over. And his name is John Paulson.
Yeah.
So I can say it because he's already said it. But if you look it up, because he's like, I'm at the point now where I'm willing to call out names of people who are trying to pay.
He's willing to lose his seat.
Yeah, he knows it.
All right.
He knows it.
Regina goes, what about the DOJ guy who got caught saying on a hot mic that they are removing all the Republican names?
Yeah, the one that had the date on Grindr. Here's the thing. now that they said it, now that it's out there, they can try.
Cat's been let out of the bag.
But now here's the thing is that the committee knows about it.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be a problem.
Well, first of all, Dr. Tachi, do you want to stay on for you got some time to stay on for some more conversation? Because I know you always got lots of things going on.
Oh, sure. No,
And ladies, do you mind if Dr. Tachi joins you?
No,
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. Because this next conversation,
that's the question. Do they mind?
no, because this next
Anytime.
conversation, yeah.
Okay.
She's in Florida too, and
Okay.
that whack-a-mole Negro needs to be talked about.
Before we go to the next conversation, Regina, this is what the screen should look like. After you put in the code, enter your name and the joint. For example, I'm gonna put my name in.
Oh, the Hinge dating app. Okay.
And you should get underneath. Well, you can't see it because it's in black. It say join call. You click on join call, but hey, if it ain't happening, it ain't happening. It's no problem. And Regina says it was on the Hinge dating app. Yep, you got it. All right, let's move to our next conversation.
That's a really funny name for a dating app for somebody who was unhinged to be on.
Enlightened Being says, I wish I could call. I'm at work, blah. Oh, well, hey, if you're on a break during the call, or you can get a quick call in, no problem. Let's go to our next conversation piece. Oh, boy. The American healthcare system under Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Okay, wait a second. Before we get to the meat of this, Lawrence O'Donnell did a takedown the other day that was so good. His father caught a stray. Okay, I was like, "Oh, why is the daddy in it?" But yeah, because the way that he said it was that even RFK Jr.'s father, when he was nominated for Attorney General, people didn't want to confirm him because they thought he was unqualified because he had never been a district attorney. But at least he was a lawyer. Is what Lawrence said. He said, at least he was a lawyer.
Ain't nobody safe no more.
Huh?
I said, ain't nobody safe no more.
Did anyone watch Kennedy's testimony this week?
I saw it. I watched it.
I saw parts of it. I saw clips.
He's hard to watch. He's hard to watch, just like Trump. He's freaking hard to watch. He's a kook. The worms in his brain.
But you know who didn't watch it and probably should catch it is Trump.
Yep.
And Trump said he didn't watch it. It's obvious he didn't watch it.
Of course he didn't.
Because when I say that the Republicans dragged him,
they dragged him through the dirt.
Especially the two that are doctors.
Yeah, but they didn't ask him to resign.
Only the Democrats did.
Of course.
Right.
Surprise.
But, my God.
Do I have permission to interrupt?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
all right. So periodically, I'm keeping up with Michael Wolff, and I know people have their thoughts on him, but he had a very interesting story. Was it Joanna Coles from the Daily Beast, who hosts that podcast, asked him, why is this guy around? And of course, the main reason that Kennedy's around because 47 loves the Kennedy name.
Yeah.
All about I've got a Kennedy as part of my government. Kennedy name.
He don't want him.
He likes the essence of the Camelot dynasty, right? He loves that, right? And so he thinks it makes him legit as a president because he's got a Kennedy, because of the Kennedy legacy. But he also, but here's the other part too, is that he's still a 79-year-old man, so he forgets that we have about half the country doesn't remember the Kennedys. Period.
They don't.
Because
baby.
Well, because you're talking like the millennials on down don't really remember the Kennedys being, being here. Gen X only remembers what we can read in history books because the only Kennedy that was really alive doing anything while we were alive was Ted. Period.
Right. Ted Kennedy, and yeah.
And that was it. So,
And John Jr., not that he was a politician.
Right, but like I said, he's almost 80. So he remembers that era. And he still lives in the era of the 60s and 70s. So yeah, that's a big thing. But what you should not do is put anyone in charge of the American healthcare system who has no scientific background or a medical background, is barely a lawyer. RFK Jr. is an attorney, and he's not a great one at that. But he is definitely not a doctor. He is definitely not a scientist. Therefore, he should not be advising anyone.
Don't forget he called Kamala to ask if he could have a position, and she said no. So
Right.
What did he do? He went to Trump.
Exactly. We're also talking about someone who may still be an active heroin user. We're talking about someone who has a dead worm in their brain still, even the worm is dead, but it's still there. We're talking about someone who killed was it a shark?
I have no idea.
No telling.
But anyway, or a shark or a whale or something, but had the head on the top of its his car, and its guts were dripping into the windows because he had the windows down and hitting his grandkids. He left a dead bear in Central Park. He let his grandkids swim in, and for some reason he thinks it's great to work out in jeans. And then on top of that, he doesn't have a healthy voice, and I don't know that he's getting treatment on that. And he's supposed to be advising people. He's bringing back the presidential fitness test, which was the most absurd piece of junk they made us do in PE. I'm sorry, I could never do the lifts, and I was wondering, why am I doing this? It doesn't measure my fitness at all.
And once again, he's reckless with what he says. Like, he stated that Tylenol used in pregnant women causes autism. Where is the proof of that? Where?
I think that's. Go ahead.
He lied in front of Congress all day that day. Lied. He said he didn't say things that he clearly said.
LaLa?
I'm over it. We are being run by monkeys. The circus has been in town for a very long time. The monkeys are playing the ground. What is the Prince's song? I am Violet, the organ grinder. That's all they do. Grind lies all the live long day. I'm tired of it. Our country is dead. I'm sorry. I know some people don't want to hear that, but absolutely everything is failing. Our government has failed us. The people have failed us. No one has any morals anymore. No one cares about someone else being a human being as well. We're all put into these pots where we're supposed to stay and not be able to talk to each other. You know, we have no common sense going on in any type of organization that's going on. We got billionaires stealing caps from children. Okay. We've got no morals going on in America, but yet, you know, you want to force this Christian thing on everyone. Not everyone is a Christian, but you don't have to be a Christian to be a good person. But nope, that's the narrative that they are fitting. So every lie that they could possibly do, everything that they can strip away from other people, only to make sure that put themselves at the top. This is no longer a black versus white. This is no longer a Asian versus this and that. This is the have and the have-nots. And this middle class thing, there is no middle class anymore. You're either going to be it or not it. You're being fed to the wolves. So I suggest you wake the fuck up, because until we do something together, that's the part that nobody wants to listen to me about. You have to do it together. Nothing is going to be done. Because let me tell you something that I am falling back on, and I firmly believe we, the people, and there's more of us than there are of them. So when are you going to wake up, people? We, the people. Because just a few of us can't do it on our own. Wake up.
I mean, remember what he did to the island of Samoa. A lot of people died based on his medical advice. And he never apologized for that. This is like, and that's why I'm glad Dr. Tachi's here, because what's going on in Florida right now with their attorney, their Surgeon General.
I hear Dr. Tachi making a growling noise.
But honestly, this is just Florida as usual.
If ever there was a makeshift magical Negro, they got one.
They sure did.
They're plenty.
Shall we send tap dancing shoes in now?
Speak on it, Dr. Tachi. Tell us about him. Tell us what he did.
LaLa?
What'd you say?
No, what you just said something, Dr. Tachi wanted you to repeat it.
Oh, I said send the tap dancing shoes in. We should go ahead and send those in now. He needs many more pair.
Oh yeah, listen, Block and Capizio are out of tap dancing shoes now because there's so many willing to do it that they've sold out. For those of you that dance, you'll know Block and Capizio are dance shoe company.
Yes.
So this is the thing. This is unfortunately business as usual here. I think sometimes people, and LaLa, you understand a little bit about Florida. People think Disney and people think Miami, and they think that's the entire state, when that's not originally what was. This state is just as red as a beet, okay? With some factions, South Florida tends to be a little less red, but it's as red as a beet. This is the South. What made it not Southern was because of the high influx of immigration from places in Central and South America and the Caribbean, etc. But this is still the South. So now looking at Dr. Joseph Ladapo, now I need to find out his background. Something tells me that he's got Nigerian background because of the last name Ladapo, but is that so? Am I correct?
No, you're right.
Yeah, that's what I thought because I know that last name. I don't know if he's like first generation or if he's was born in Nigeria, but that's a whole other kettle of fish when we look at that and some immigrants that are willing to side with them because they don't understand the complexities of being of color in this country, because it's something completely different where you're from. So in Nigeria, there are problems, but it's a class problem and a class problem and an ethnic group problem rather than a quote race problem, right? So the understanding of that is different. That doesn't mean they can't understand, but they don't have that context there. So then they come and number one, you believe everything that's fed to you about certain groups. Number two, you don't have the context of Black Americanism, if that makes any sense, because that's not your experience as a Black person. And to be honest, I'm just going to say the Black American experience is not the entire experience. And so looking at it conversely, I think this is also part of the problem when we come to the quote unquote diaspora wars quote that we've been hearing about lately, and to all of people participating in that, shut up. It's stupidity. But it comes from the fact of coming here and then not understanding the complexities of being a Black person in this country. But conversely, Black Americans also have to understand that the Black American experience is not the only Black experience, nor is it a superior Black experience. Black is Black. We're all from the same place, just ended up in different places. And I know there are differences in terms of the way we do things, etc. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the thing. This state is a swamp, with the exception of northern Florida. But this place is surrounded by water. It's a swamp. And what is like the number one organism that causes disease? Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
So we're talking Zika, we're talking malaria, we're talking all these things. Malaria has been eradicated in this country for a while. All we need, though, is for somebody to come from someplace else where malaria is still a thing, come here, and because you don't want vaccinations or you don't want to eliminate things, that's it. Albeit there's an injection. I don't think there's really a vaccine per se. There are pills you can take, etc. But we're going backwards in time to when we had communicable diseases that are preventable now, not being preventable.
Exactly.
Because of false information. And I think that's very dangerous. And the thing is, you have a lot of people here, and I can't be nice when I say these things. I'm going to call it out. You have a lot of people here who are undereducated. And I don't just mean formal education, but undereducated in the fact that they wait for other people to tell them what the case is, rather than researching in the right places. And so all they need is somebody to say, oh, well, vaccines cause autism, and they will believe it rather than do their own work, because that's the type of state this is. That's the type of people that exist in the state. Not everybody, but there are large numbers of that. Number two, you have large numbers of people who immigrated here from other places, and they immigrated here for like a better life and to do things. They didn't come here for school. They didn't come here to research. They didn't come here for things. So it's very easy for people who want to stay in this country to get them to believe anything. This is part of the problem now. And this is not calling people who immigrated to Florida uninformed or unaware, but that's not what they came here to do. And that's not their background. So why should they start to do it now? So it is very easy to get those people to believe things. And it's not just them. It's the people here who are uninformed and undereducated and look for a leader or a savior to take them someplace rather than realizing the power they have. So I'm going to believe you if you tell me that vaccines cause autism, and I'm not going to research it. And this is what they rely on.
Right.
This is exactly what they rely on. And there's been this whole campaign of untruths throughout, taking things out of history books, sugarcoating history when it comes to enslavement and other things, making sure that there are no measures in place that ensure that the quote, the least of us can rise up to everyone else. And nobody seems to do anything about it. Like, nobody really seems to do anything about it. So this whole medical thing, this so-called Surgeon General is really just a symptom of a larger campaign of spreading untruths, of dismantling systems that have been in place. So when you have a weakened state, the strong, quote, rich ones are able to rise above.
Yes.
Yeah. And the sad part is like you said, malaria hasn't been in this country in forever. The same had been true with measles, but now it's back, and it's back with a vengeance, right?
Yeah. And
so we're going to start to see things that we haven't seen in a long time come back, like chicken pox. Chicken pox. You don't really hear too much about people getting chicken pox anymore because they pretty much are vaccinated. Like people our age, we have to get shingles vaccines because we have the chicken pox antibodies from getting chicken pox because there was no vaccine when we were little. But like my daughter won't have to get a shingles vaccine because she got vaccinated from chickenpox. But we're going to start seeing things like if we see measles now, guess what follows measles? Mumps and rubella.
Yeah.
Because that is the vaccination that they did the three together: measles, mumps, and rubella,
together.
The MMR. So if we're seeing people get measles now, mumps and rubella aren't too far behind. Within the next 5 years, I expect that we'll see those too. And if those things are coming back, you know what else is next? Smallpox.
Yep.
Polio.
Wow.
All
Well, you know, we already had a case of plague in California, so
yes,
all these things are coming back because RFK Jr. hates vaccines.
Don't forget
but let's be very clear. He's vaccinated.
LaLa.
His kids are vaccinated.
LaLa, go ahead.
But don't forget, there's already been a case of parents who have let their child die a miserable death of measles and came out and said, we would do it again. And we urge you all to do the same thing because the vaccine is dangerous. But yet you're going to sit there and watch your child die when something should be done. Right.
Wow.
Exactly.
All right, let me jump in, get some comments, catch up. Regina goes, this will end the GOP, babies and kids dying because vaccines were optional, adults. She also says Governor Kathy Hochul just announced vaccines will be available to all that need them in New York. And I think there were also 3 states in the West, California, Oregon, and they've set a little block saying we're going to do the vaccines. Regina also says Cali, Hawaii, Washington, Oregon have created Health Alliance to coordinate public health and science-based guidelines. Yeah, well, 47 is probably going to say we're going to take away funding probably because of that. The Walamala, good to see you. 47's old. Really? Born after World War II, he was almost an adult when Kennedy was assassinated, something the new generation is too young to remember. So definitely that has that leverage. Regina says, wish I could join in. Met probably K Jr. in 1991 on a boat. Interesting. A fundraiser for the Maritime Education Program. I thought I was a part of it at the time. Uncle Teddy was there too. Teddy was a great sailor, by the way. Okay. All right.
Wow.
And Regina says, preach, LaLa.
I know y'all get tired of me, but sometimes this hellfire come out of me. That's David Trout, my daddy.
It's all good. I just, when I look at that, John, and I hear him, I go, this is health. This is health.
But see, the way that they have it is set up is that, remember, the CDC makes recommendations for vaccines, which is how healthcare companies decide to cover them. He fired the CDC people who make those recommendations because he did not agree with them. And so the way that they have it now, particularly with the COVID vaccine, is that if you're healthy, you don't need to get it.
Regina also says it's a Pandora's box of misinformation.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead, LaLa.
No, I was just saying, I heard Dr. Tachi.
Yo, go ahead. Dr. Tachi wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, this has implications beyond just here. But let's start with just here. I would not want my child in a public school. Listen, I will educate you from home. If this is now a mandate that kids don't have to get vaccinated before they come, who knows? Already grubby hands don't wash themselves and wash their hands anyway. So now you're coming with your unwashed hands and unwashed selves to school full of measles, mumps, rubella, rickets, scurvy, and whatever else has been eradicated. And now here you come and you want to infect my child. So it's, again, this individualistic nature of, well, I don't want the point of vaccines is not just for your stupid child, it's to protect everybody else. And because we don't think like a collective, we think individualistically, we think, oh, well, it's going to harm my child, and therefore, no, witch, it's for everyone. It is to protect the public. That's why it's called public health. So that's one thing. Now you're going to have children going to school sick. We already have a system that does not reward people for staying home, and that includes parents who would need to stay home to take care of a sick child. So they'll go to work, and here they go to school. Super spreader event, just going to school. Right. On top of that,
isn't that part of the plan?
It's part of the plan, but now
part of the plan.
Mm-hmm. But they believe that kids will get natural immunity by going to sick.
At a time, let Dr. Jackie finish.
But don't let your diabolical plan be a hindrance for, your world dominate, or to be part of your world plan of world domination. Because what happens now is you've got Americans, because the U.S. has this kind of freedom to, for right now, travel to wherever they like. They don't like to wear masks because it's about them, and they're uncomfortable, or Americans are uncomfortable wearing masks, so I'm not going to do it. Whereas you look at other countries, we wear masks to protect everybody else. And so now they're going other places, spreading these things to other countries, endangering other countries. So if I were you, other countries, you need to get stricter on which Americans you let in. They need to be vaccinated if they're going to come into your country. They need to show vaccination records, or at least be of certain age where that will be possible, or show vaccination records or get revaccinated, because it is very selfish. It's one thing, do what you like in your own country, but don't come into my country and now spread your germs because you didn't believe in doing it there. So those are the two things: the spread of these diseases in American public schools, and also Americans traveling abroad spreading these things because they're taking children and they're not being vaccinated.
This was not an issue when we went to school. You just went and got your vaccines before school, when you had to get your school physical right before school, and it was done. You went to school. That was it. And the funny thing to me about all this, and then literally doing this right now, the one thing we learned about during the pandemic that we did not expect to learn was how certain people did not wash. We learned about people's hygiene big time, because people really felt like sharing how they do not wash their hands or their legs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I had big debates about it too. I was like, really? Y'all debating about hygiene?
I mean, like, you just shampoo your hair and let the water trickle down to your legs. You don't use a washcloth. And it's like, that's part of your body. So, and how weird it was that certain people wash their chicken. So we've had these debates about cleanliness and hygiene. And since we all cannot agree on hygienic practices, why not just get vaccinated? Because guess what? The standards are universal.
I just thought about something that may be ironic. Isn't 47 a germaphobe?
Yes.
Absolutely. And
Okay,
guess what? He's also a vaccinated germaphobe.
Pardon me?
He's also a vaccinated germaphobe. Guess who else is vaccinated? The person trying to take away everybody else's vaccines. RFK Jr. I bet you he's got that circle, dot.
I'm sure he does.
All right. So comments, and we'll move to our last conversation topic. Regina says, now they're saying pregnant mothers taking Tylenol cause autism in babies. We mentioned that. Also, Chelsea says, here's a common lie. The Department of Education has never controlled K-12 curriculum. States and local boards of ed do that. Yet there is this widespread lie that the DC department controls what is taught nationally. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, even when you get your, I went to school in New York State. My high school diploma says State University of New York.
Right.
It's the State University of New York that does that.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep.
Eddie
Yep.
David says pandemic has demonized vaccines, so blacks are wary of what we can trust and who we can trust. Well, not only
Yeah.
that, amplify that's something that's
Yeah.
existed for years.
Yeah.
For years. All right, one more conversation topic, and we're gonna call it. LaLa, I want you to lead on this.
All righty.
U.S. economy, job growth.
Let's
slows.
talk about it.
Huh?
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Go for it, girl.
Let me tell you something. This is absolutely ridiculous. How can you possibly think that you're going to have any kind of jobs added when you're deporting everybody? If you're going into Hyundai factories and taking people out of factories, you're taking people out of the fields, you're taking people out of their offices, you're taking people at the immigration office. How do you think that we're going to have any kind of job increase going on? Let me tell you how many jobs we have had. In the last report, we're 75% down. So 4 months in a row, 4 months in a row, we continue to go down. Guess how many jobs that we added in August? 22,000. We have not been this low since 2020 in the pandemic era. So everything that he has promised has all fallen apart, but still yet he still gets on the stage and saying we're the best country. We have the best job status. And remember the last time that the job statistics came out, he immediately fired the person who delivered the news. This time he came out and didn't even try to ignore it. 4 months in a row, Christmas time is here. Blackstone is buying up everything. Rents are going higher. Eggs are going higher. We are being told, we've been put on the watch list by many, many countries not to go to. And you want to sit up here and say we are the best in the world. You are putting people in it with what we just talked about, the vaccines. The schools are being torn apart. You've got a wrestler lady from the World Wrestling who's supposed to be over the education. Our kids can't read. But yet we are down to only 22,000 jobs in a month period when we are so far behind on everything else. This is not going to change anytime soon. When you are taking the people who are doing these hardworking jobs that white folk, wahites, as a good friend of mine says, don't want, what do you think is going to happen? We as a community are not the ones who are on the welfare. If you look at it historically, it's never been us who've been number one on the welfare. So what do you think is getting ready to happen with all these people who can't get jobs because only 22,000 have been added? I can guarantee you this number is going to go down before the end of next month. It's going to continue to go down because you are the one who is busting the bubble. You are the one who is the problem. So don't come out here telling people lies when there are no jobs for them to get.
Well, but wait, you know what he said though? He said, it's not the real jobs number because you won't get the real one until next year. Oh, wait. There's the other thing too. Black unemployment has gone up. And you know why that has gone up? Because the thing that Black people, specifically Black women, have been told most of their lives, get yourself a good government job because it's a stable job. And Black women, 319,000 Black women have lost their government jobs.
Yet,
and the Black unemployment rate is 7.5.
He's hiring for ICE. People are lining up for them ICE jobs and bonuses.
Look, I told my daughter, I said, what if I got one? Oh, are you Marissa Menendez? No, you're J-Lo. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This is Jennifer Lopez. This is not Marissa Menendez. I don't know how I messed that up. Okay, I'm sorry. Go.
Right? Exactly.
I'm
but
like,
no,
I told her I'd be naming famous people.
Though, when you look at the mentality of those people who are getting those jobs, do you know how many immigrants are signing up for that job? It's sickening where everyone wants to eat each other's young. This is why we're not great, and this is why we won't be great until things are corrected. But see, this country was never built on a solid foundation. You hear me say it every time I'm on this show, and I will not stop saying it, because when you build things on sinking sand, they cannot stand.
No. No.
Okay. Regina says that's 440 jobs, new jobs per state. Next month, it'll be 50 per state. Regina says, what about Black nurses losing their jobs when hospitals and clinics close?
Which is going to happen because he cut all the funding to those hospitals and clinics. And so they are going to close. I mean, the bottom line is Black unemployment had been going down. And now it's back at 7.5%.
I got another. I want to go ahead, Dr. Tachi, please.
So I think that this requires a new way of thinking about things. There are two things that I wanted to say. In terms of Black unemployment, I saw something, I don't know if you all saw, that Tabitha Brown, of course, I bring media into this, had made a comment about that had to do with Black unemployment and entrepreneurship, right? And she basically said that you saw that.
I saw that,
this is not going the way that you want to go. You may need to go ahead and go get a job. So there were mixed reviews with this. Some people are like, so you're mad because she's saying because your business is not doing anything, so go get a job to pay your bills. But then on the other hand, there were like, you saying this is implying that Black women are not working jobs and doing things as they're trying to, you have a dream funder as they're trying to build their dream. And that's like a slap in the face. So I'm sure you've seen lots of conversation about this. But the reality is that because that so-called good government job with benefits is no longer promised, and let's just be honest, was not really promised from the start.
Right.
This is what has forced people into, I have to do something, I have to make my own, similar to the ways that people did before when you were not allowed to come into some of these jobs and all you could do was be a domestic, work on your farm, be whatever the case may be. That when that was all you could do. So people, and you could not live in neighborhoods with, non-melanated people. So you had to build up your own neighborhoods, but of course your neighborhoods needed services, so you started businesses. This is not different, where because there's a need, people are tired. Okay, let's just say people are tired, Black people are tired of the same old, same old. Many are like, there has to be a better way. I need to work for myself, right? And so many are attempting to start their own businesses. So out of this unemployment crisis, there are people that are attempting to start their own businesses to, I think, which kind of hits this point harder when somebody is saying, go and get a job, how some people may feel like, okay, you're dismantling the whole thing by telling us to go and get a job. That's not saying don't pay your bills, but it's also saying we already know when you're starting a business, it is really hard to have another job and still, create and do things for your business to a level where it can succeed. It's difficult. Let's be honest. So I wanted to bring that up because the unemployment piece ties in directly to that. And she's not the only one that is saying that. There have been other people that have said that in the past. But if I'm to make a prediction, there'll be more Black women and more Black people trying to be entrepreneurs to really make ends meet and do things as this crisis continues. But here's the difference. This time it can't just be in the typical types of services. Oh, and there's another thing I want to bring up, but just can't be in these typical types of services. You need to learn to master AI. You need to make your business international because you can't rely just on here. Clearly, we've seen this. So we have to become multinational mini corporations that master AI in order to do these things and other technology in order to do these things. Go ahead. I do have another thing, but go ahead.
Go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
Oh, me go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I lost. Oh, okay, I lost it. Now I was so excited, I lost it. I'll come back to it. There was another point I had to this. I'll come back to it.
I want to ask, what is the impact to the Black family and Black culture with over 300,000 Black women losing their jobs in America?
I think it's not the same that I think it is when I see when I see white people having these meltdowns on social media. It's not the same because we're used to being last hired, first fired. That this has been our reality in this country for so long that we know how to navigate the uncertainty of this type of instability, right? So it's going to be hard, but we know how to navigate it. So we have, I don't want to call it strength, but I think we have reserves of resources. We have reserves of ideas and creativity to help us get through periods like this. And I think that some other communities don't.
LaLa?
So the crash out's not going to be the same.
LaLa?
No, I agree with Aisha on that. But here's the problem. We've done this in our communities for generations. We knew how to take care of each other. Where I worry is at some point we stop teaching our children these basics. So now we have more than two generations who don't know how to do what our grandparents taught us to do, right? Because no one taught them. So this is where Dr. Tachi and I both definitely agree, because I am making sure that I am learning it, is this is where they need to get the education with the AI, because that is what it is right now. It is what it is. There are so many things that you could do to go with that. You need to take advantage of the free courses that are being offered by Google, by Meta, by Harvard, by all those things. We may not always like these companies, but there are free resources where our kids can now learn something that we didn't know, but is hot. But you need to get that education in their hands now. Otherwise, inflation's going up, babies. Listen, I don't care if you have 4 or 5 jobs. If the eggs are still $20 a dozen, you can be working 4 jobs that are not paying you enough to get that dozen of eggs. So you're going to have to put your focus on the things that are important right now that will help you launch this generation into it. How is this going to affect our communities? We're not letting our kids do this. We're letting them stay in these phones. We're letting them listen and twerk on these songs. Now, listen, there's a time and place for everything. But I remember when I grew up that if a little girl was doing a certain dance or somebody was doing something, their mamas would turn around and say, "Go sit your fast tail down. Go read a book." We need to get back to those basics, because there's a couple of generations that are missing the point.
Dr. Tachi, I'll give you the last word.
Sure. I think what needs to happen, what is happening is, I agree with LaLa and with Aisha, but what's happening is we're raising our children with a scarcity mindset, right, that this will not be around tomorrow, so we have to. Now, this is not saying, don't say Dr. Tachi said don't say, that's not what I'm saying. But if you look at the way other communities do things in terms of building wealth, they're not doing it by putting all their money in the bank and living off the 0.00000000001% interest that you get from your rubbish savings account. That's not the way they do. And so we're doing things from a scarcity mindset. We're also putting importance on stuff instead of assets, right? Buying stuff, et cetera, instead of assets. And this was the point that I wanted to make. We're also doing things back to social media. I don't know if you saw, but there's this teacher on social media who's also like a spoken word artist, and she had this whole poem, which was she asked everybody what they wanted to be, and there was this little girl in her class that said, "I want to be a baddie," and that type of thing. And then she went into the whole thing about she's hearing more kids talking about they want to be content creators. Where are the doctors? Where are the this? Where are the that? And I said, I get it, and that's fine, but that's that same mindset of scarcity. That is that same mindset of get yourself a good government job and you'll be okay, rather than create. Because my thing is, whenever anybody thinks of content creators, they're only thinking about like the influencers.
Yes.
Content creators. There are people that create content that are doing great things that we don't. So because it's not seen as a serious profession, it's not something that children should strive for. And that's why I'm like, I should say something underneath this, but I'm not going to, because I don't have time for a back and forth with a whole group of internet folks. But that's the mindset that we're coming out of. And guess what? When you're creating, that's also a business. If you're a content creator and you're doing it right, it's also a business. So now you are using the one-track mind to funnel our children back into the scarcity mindset of get you a good government job. That's our problem now.
Mm-hmm.
We have to, because they're already in school systems that don't teach them about entrepreneurship. They teach them to become part of the machine. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being a doctor, lawyer, engineer, a teacher. There's nothing wrong with that. But that has been our problem to date, that we don't have enough people in positions of ownership and leadership. So when you keep funneling our children into those places and it doesn't lead to entrepreneurship or generational wealth, we're going to be singing the same song in 20 years, 30, 40 years. So that's what I'll say about that. Let's get out of this scarcity mindset and start cultivating children to own.
All right. On that comment, that's it. Eddie David says, sadly, the same thing is happening in Canada. It is true. Same thing is happening with Black Canada. On that note, we call it a wrap. Dr. Tachi, want to say thank you so much for taking the time to jump in. This is one of the reason I love this feature. You don't have to be camera ready. You can be part of the conversation. What's coming up with Indie Soup Media, and how can people touch base with you?
Oh, yeah. So Indie Soup Media, we are now in our encore season. So we're replaying the entire, well, for some it's fifth season, some it's third. It really depends. But this past season, we're replaying all the episodes. So if you miss them, you'll get to watch them and have the creators in there while they are going live. And then we take a break, and then we actually will come back in November with the brand new season. So that's what's happening there. And if anybody wants to reach me, at Dr._Tachi on Instagram.
Thank you, Dr. Tachi. Always making our conversations better. And please stay safe in Florida.
I'll try. Thank you.
Take care. Take care,
Thanks,
Dr.
all.
Tachi. Bye-bye. All right. Good stuff. Well, let's do what we always do with the ladies. Give their contact information before they, as we said, desert us. So first up, her name is LaLa Key.
Yep, that's me. Guess what? We need to bring back the common and common sense, because we are all so scattered right now that if we don't really sit down and focus our efforts on the right thing, then we're going to lose it all. So think before you act. Really make sure that you are really checking into where your sources are, and then really sit with it before you act to find out where your resources could be best used. You can find me at my website at laurakey.net. I have some wonderful free materials there. With the inflation going up so bad, I do have a free budget guide there that you are more than welcome to download, because listen, the holidays are coming and people get a little woo-woo and happy fun. And this is the time where we really do need to get focused on keeping more funds in our home and putting them back into our communities. You can get that at laurakey.net.
Thank you, LaLa. Next up, it's Aisha K. Staggers time.
I'm so sleepy. You can find me on Instagram at akstaggers, on Medium at akstaggers.medium.com, on Blue Sky at akstaggers.bsky.social, friendomedia, friendomedia.com, and Substack at Aisha K. Staggers.
See, she's tired. All right, and something I learned from LaLa. You can get a hold of me at one link now. One link gives you everything. So taplink.cc/the Dr. Vibe Show gives you everything, all the contact info, email address, all the different platforms I'm on, all on one thing. Before we go further, got Enlightened Being says, really great show. I love the passion. Thank you. And hopefully you'll be able to call in the future. Hopefully. Find a way. Step out on break and use that smartphone. Yes. And also you can catch replays of Primetime with Aisha and LaLa on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and on my website, thedrvibeshow.com. All right. That's it. That's it there. Let's finish with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And if you're not making, try to do both. And if you can't, right? So as always, God bless. Peace, well, keep the faith, walk good. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, the Dr. Ice channel, subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, tell other people. Faith and walk good.
To understand how afraid I am of any member of the chipmunks. Okay, I hate of the rodent family, rabbits, bunnies. No. What else is going on that day? I mean, is there something we're supposed to be doing?
Why are you going there? Why are you going there? You know I'm going to ask you. It falls the same day as the inauguration of the new president.
The what? Excuse me? I'm sorry?
So in other words, Monday.
So onesies. Now, folks, don't ever think you're going to see us all on a show with onesies on. Don't do that.
You might see me. You might see me.
You'll see me and LaLa, because we oftentimes wear ours.